Update. Lighting wasn't terrible. I am sweating though. This child is a furnace. Okay. So the short antagonist protocol, things that we had to coordinate is my work schedule. And I chose to work out of Halifax for the first full week because, again, I didn't know what the frequency of appointments were going to be. And Andrew was hopefully going to be able to make every appointment. So they give you like a little short form of what the first, I would say, roughly what the first 2 weeks are going to look like. So they tell you that on cycle day 1, so as soon as your period starts, you send a message in the portal and say, hey, I'm cycle day 1. And then they book you in on cycle day 3. And that very well could be over a weekend too. For us, I believe it fell on a Monday. And you're booked in between, it's early morning. Because the way they work is they see patients early morning for these blood tests and transvaginal ultrasounds is what they're doing, like a little wand. And they get the results back. And at noon, the whole collaborative team have a little meeting to discuss what next steps are. Okay, do we need to increase this dosage? Do we need to do this? Are they ready for their egg retrieval? What's the vibe? So they booked us in for cycle day 3, which was a Monday. And we drove over the Sunday night, stayed in a hotel, and I believe it was like an 8 o'clock appointment. So we go in, Andrew's coming into the room with me, and I get my blood work done, and they're testing for estradiol, estrogen, I think, and LH, and the transvaginal ultrasound, which was really funny. This is because you're cycle day 1, I'm on my period, and when she's finishing up, so basically they're looking at your follicles on both ovaries, so what you have baseline, because ideally, if we stimulate them, they'll start to grow. We'll see more. That should give you an idea of how many eggs they're able to retrieve. And then she takes the wand out, and there's blood on it, and Andrew goes, after he goes, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, Andrew, I'm on my period. He goes, oh, he thought it was blood from the ultrasound. Anywho, so we now need to wait around till noon because at noon you get a message from the pharmacy to come in and get your meds. So we basically grabbed a coffee. This was a huge first day. We grab a coffee and we go walk around public gardens, and I look at all the rhododendrons as I am now in my gardening era. So we're killing time. That's something to keep in mind too. Even though your appointment's early morning, you need to kill time until noon, 1 o'clock, for when you go and see the pharmacist. Also, I really hope throughout this entire recording you hear her snoring because she has the cutest little snore and she's right beside the microphone. So we go in and we meet Al, the pharmacist. He's amazing. So he sends out these videos of what meds you're going to be taking to, but he also gives you an explanation. They also direct bill your insurance. If you send in your insurance information prior to all of this, which I did through the portal, he can double check on coverage. And if he's able to direct bill, which is very handy because low-key, the meds are the most expensive part of this whole process. I think it could have been upwards of $20K. Again, shout out Manulife. I'm looking at my notes because this is a lot. Another thing too, the staff, like from the admins to the nursing staff, what a empathetic and such a sweet environment, because naturally everybody that walks through those doors, this is an emotional time. This is a lot. It can be very overwhelming, can be very anxiety inducing, and they're all so sweet and so caring. Like I just had such a great experience there. And I know obviously some people may not have, but and it's not just because of the outcome, it's because it was a big life event, and those are the things that get me the most worked up. So we get our meds. I'm going to change my screen because I have my calendar from the app. So the app that they have has a calendar and a messaging system, and they have what meds you need to take each day and what when your appointment is as well. So, oh, oh no. Want a sickie? Okay. Now the question is, do I leave that big cry in or not? Because it's just loud in that microphone. I feel a very big pee diaper though, so we might have to change it. So we meet Al, and the first 2 meds that you need to take for 5 days. So 5 days of stim. So my appointment's on Monday. My next appointment's going to be Friday. So that's when I come in for updated blood work and another transvaginal ultrasound to see how things are going. So Andrew ends up driving home that morning. I'm doing the first night of injections on my own because, again, hyper independence and the nature of my job, I'm going to be on my own. So realistically, he wasn't going to be able to help me with these injections. The first one was called Gonal F. It was like an EpiPen style, which not scary at all. And these are going in your stomach, like you grab your stomach, a little bit of fat, and you give yourself an EpiPen, and that is to stimulate your follicles. And then Menopur was the second med. I don't have it. Look it up, Menopur. But that took a bit of titration. You needed to like syringe stuff out. That one was a little bit more daunting. So I started with the EpiPen and then took a deep breath and like did my chemistry assignment and Menopur. So that's 5 days of both of these. They have set dosages for you. So they guide you through it. Everybody's different. To the calendar. Let me see where I'm at. Yeah, so first appointment and first dosage. And I think I did them in the evenings. I think I did, yeah. So this the Monday. Next appointment is the 20th on the Friday, June 20th. And Andrew was able to make it over for that appointment too, which was really nice. I do recommend your partner being there along the ride. Like, ladies, this is a lot on us, but let them be involved too. Let them be involved. It's important. You need somebody. This is a lot. So next appointment, they're seeing if they need to modify these the dosages at all. I believe at that 5-day mark, they then introduce a third injection, which is to, I probably should have this written down. 1 second. I can't look at it. I can't look it up. Anyways, there's a third injection. Again, more chemistry. So now you're doing 3 injections a day. And my next appointment is, and this is going to be determined by your situation and your team, but I had my next appointment 1, 2, 3, 4 days later. So I went home, worked out in New Brunswick, and came back on the Tuesday afternoon or Monday afternoon for a Tuesday early morning appointment. And then it could be rapid fire. It could be you have an appointment the next day or you have an appointment in 2 days, depending on what they see happening in your blood work and the follicles. But things are looking good. I have some big follicles forming on both sides. Also, these meds, if you think that you're bloated, and I'm not calling it anybody that is like celiac or anything, but like you bloat. Think of your ovaries as small, like blueberries or almonds. They turn into grapefruits or oranges. I don't know what fruit they told me, but I looked like I could have been 6 months pregnant. Fact. I wish I could compare the pictures. But you're so bloated and so tender because we're just souping up these follicles in hopes that we can retrieve a bunch of eggs. So I had my next appointment on the Tuesday. They tell me, ooh, you might be getting close. We're going to do another appointment tomorrow. So I have to change all my plans, rebook meetings, and I stay in Halifax overnight. And I think Andrew ended up doing that too. And on the 25th, yeah, okay. So Tuesday appointment, Wednesday appointment, and then they say, we're going to give you your trigger shot, which you need to take at a very specific time because it needs to be a certain time frame before your egg retrieval so that your eggs don't come out or whatever. When I tell you that I had work plans and I had a journal club, which means like I'm hosting all the orthopedic surgeons for a dinner the night I need to take this trigger shot. So I'm in Moncton at dinner and I need to step away at dinner to go into the bathroom like a drug addict and take this trigger shot. Anyways, more titration over the toilet seat. I'm like, in a dress, and I come out and I'm like, and actually I came out towards the end of the dinner and people were already leaving and I was really embarrassed. But when they found out later down the road that I ended up being pregnant from IVF, they understood. I was like, remember when you probably thought I was pooping in there? So my egg retrieval is booked for Friday, June 27th at 9:30 a.m. This is the real deal. We're going in for it. So we go over the night before, and I think we booked 2 nights stay because you're going to be really sore after your egg retrieval. Don't try to drive home. If you can, spend some time just relaxing because it's invasive, and you're going to be on meds. I'm pretty sure it's fentanyl and something else. So you go in for your egg retrieval. I'm going to read you the message that they sent me to prep for the egg retrieval because I saved it. So they send me one on the 26th, so the day before, and it says, "Hi Emily, I hope you're feeling well." Feeling great, bloated, but like I ended up being kind of good at these injections. And once you get used to it, I feel like doing it myself, it was less of a shock. Like having your partner do it, you're like, "Oh, ow, that hurts," but I'm like, I'm just doing it. We have some information for your retrieval tomorrow and cycle updates on when you would get updates on your egg and embryos and all that stuff. When you arrive at the clinic tomorrow morning, please check in at the front desk, obviously. Andrew will be able to join you for your retrieval once he's finished, or once they finish collecting his sample. So your partner will give a sample that day. If you're using a frozen sample, probably not the case. This is funny, and I feel bad that I did this. We're in the waiting room. Andrew leaves, and then he comes back because he leaves to go to a private room to give a sample. He comes back 5 minutes later, and I was like, "Oh my God, that was quick." And everybody in the waiting room laughed. And then I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Anyways, so there's a television in the retrieval room, so you may be able to follow along as the embryologist searches for your eggs under the microscope. So basically, they're going in like a pap test, and they're like filtering, I don't even know what they're called, but they're putting this long thing in to suck out eggs from each of the follicles. Okay, so I'm in the room. Andrew's sitting beside me. One of the nurses she's doing the meds, and then the doctor, and then they have a door with the embryologist like actively counting, and then there's a TV screen where you're able to see. I wasn't looking at any of that. So they have you souped up with fentanyl. And if you listen to episode 1, fentanyl didn't really work for me. I felt every poke that they poked into my follicles. The nurse felt so bad for me. I was crying. It was so painful. They couldn't give me any more. It was more painful than the HSG. It was so painful. It was really, really bad. But it needs to get done, and hopefully fentanyl works for you. I don't want to scare you, but it was not great. When it was all done, so wait, let me finish the message. You will hear the embryologist counting eggs as we go. So they're counting eggs. That doesn't mean they're all mature, right? So I've kind of mentally prepared myself that every update we get will be reduced by 50%. That's probably not the science, but it goes down. It jumps down. So every update you get from the clinic, it's going to go boom, 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 boom. So don't get all excited that if you got 24 eggs retrieved, that you're going to have 24 embryos. Likely not the case. So counting eggs, before you leave for the day, the embryologist will give you the final count. For the final count. which they ended up giving me on a sticky note when I was in recovery. Another thing too that I didn't mention, because New Brunswick was covering a portion or quite a bit of the cost, we ended up opting for ICSI, which is where they choose a specific MVP spermie and inject it in. So if you weren't having it covered, it is more expensive to do that route. That's often used when there's some male factor infertility, or like they really need to pick and choose the sperm that they want to use. We really wanted to do that because the success rates are a bit better. So with ICSI, we find out later that day on how many were successfully implanted and could develop into embryos. So insemination by sperm ICSI will occur in the afternoon with your partner sample. The lab will provide you with updates along the way on day one, which this is a thing also with IVF, cycle day one, new day one. It's so confusing. So just like go with the flow. On day one, the day following your egg retrieval, an embryologist will provide you with a portal update on how many eggs were fertilized. Another thing to remember, I didn't tell you, my goal was to do the egg retrieval and then take a couple months of a break and do like a freeze all, where they freeze all the embryos and then we do a frozen transfer. Again, I didn't know how my body was going to react to any of the meds or how I was going to react to this whole process. So I really wanted to optimize my physical and mental health. The doctor that did the retrieval, even though I was crying in it, he said in the recovery room that I actually reacted really well to the stimulating drugs. And he asked us if we would think about potentially doing a fresh transfer. And in order to do a fresh transfer, you need to be on estrogen or estradiol and progesterone starting immediately after your retrieval. So he prescribed that and we started it just in case we decided to do a fresh transfer. So the estradiol or estrogen was a pill, and you have two options. And look into your coverage for the progesterone. You can either do a bum injection or a like vaginal pearl. Not for me. I did not want to do the pearl. I was like, okay, I'm good at injections. Let's do the injections. So I asked for injections. We ended up picking that up from Al at the pharmacy after our retrieval and then hit the road home. So anyways, we find out how many were fertilized. On day 2, the embryologist will call you with an update on how many were fertilized and started the cellular division. They don't observe the embryos for day 3 and 4. So again, you're waiting patiently. So we get home to New Brunswick after that trauma, and then I'm just like lounging. I think it ended up being a weekend, so I'm lounging, thank God. And then we get an update, and we get an update on how many were fertilized. So we had 16 eggs retrieved. 13 were mature and 11 were fertilized. That's the update that we got. I'm going to finish this message, the explanation. I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. I apologize, but so yeah, they take a break on not observing. Those 2 days suck because you're like, what's happening? You will receive a portal message on day 5 or 6 with a final update on how many embryos were able to, or no, wait. Yeah, how many embryos are like moving, grooving. So 16 eggs were retrieved, 13 were mature and able to be injected with Andrew's sperm sample. 11 eggs were fertilized normally. 1 egg was fertilized abnormally and will not be assessed again. Sad. And then 1 egg demonstrated poor membrane integrity at the time of injection and did not withstand the ICSI procedure, whatever that means. Yeah, so, okay, that's not bad odds. 16 to, let's say, 11, not terrible. So then we wait a couple days, and then we get an update and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 embryos that are looking good, that are dividing cellular division. And then there's one, they called it an SER, which they separate. I'll have to look up what it's actually called, or I won't, whatever, you can look it up. SER. They separate it from the group and monitor it. They would implant that one, but if you have other embryos at different levels or different grades, because they grade them based on what day embryo, how many cells, but don't get hung up on the grading because it's an embryo. So they separate it. We kind of kept that to the side. I didn't really count that in. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 graded, and then 1 SER one. And then they manage your expectations. Expect 50% drop. That's all the screenshots I took. That's so stupid. Anywho, so day 5 is when they call us with the basically almost final update. And we have 5 good embryos. We have 2 MVPs and 3 rookies, but they'd still be good. And they strongly suggest that we do a fresh transfer with one of the MVPs. So Andrew and I are looking at each other, and I'm feeling good. So again, a couple days after the egg retrieval, I'm feeling better. I'm getting used to the progesterone injections, and we decided to do it. So we literally pack an overnight bag and we drive over to Halifax for a fresh transfer appointment the next day, which is so exciting. The SER embryo, I think, didn't keep developing, so that one was discarded. So yeah, we're back in Halifax. We go to our egg transfer appointment, which is easy breezy. It's a pap test. Don't worry about that one. It's the retrieval that's treacherous. Exciting. A lot of nerves, exciting. But I also am feeling very blessed that we have 5 little bebes to potentially work with. You can't go into any of these procedures, it's easier said than done, but you shouldn't go in stressed or worried. Go in with an open mind. Really, and I feel like this is why I had such a good experience, is because I really let Jesus take the wheel, but really the professionals, they know what they're doing. They do this every day. They're so good at what they do and they won't steer you wrong. So I just surrendered to the process and to them. I was like, you guys take care of me. So I went in with a really open mind and open heart, I guess. So the transfer, super smooth, super quick. They give you a little petri dish cover of what embryo and then a little picture, and then they send you on your way. We drove home, and then it's the 2-week wait, which is crazy. So when they leave, they end up booking you a beta test, like a blood test. Don't recommend testing. So hard not to test. But if you can, same like any other cycle, wait at least 10 days before you try to test. Because if you get a negative test and it's too early, you're going to be depresso. Oh, Eloise, we're doing so good. But you got a big P in there for sure. We are so sweaty right now. So yeah, that was my that was it. 10 days I took a test and it was positive. And I had to wait until I went for my blood test to confirm it. And then the clinic, one of the nurses calls and congratulates you, or doesn't. But again, fortunately for us, it was a happy call. And I was like, I already know. I already tested. And after that, what happens next is they book you for an 8-week ultrasound. check on everything, a transvaginal ultrasound to check on if there's a heartbeat, if everything's looking good. So for this, we're still being followed by the fertility clinic up until then. So you have access to the portal, you can send messages and questions. Once I hit that appointment, I'm then referred to a local OB and local maternal fetal medicine department to monitor. So again, we had way more frequent ultrasounds and checkups and everything, just because IVF is considered high risk until your doctors don't think you are. But I think I really rushed over that. And I just really wanted to share that we had a really good experience with Atlantic Fertility. We made what was a tough situation to be in. We made it work and we made a baby. I think that infertility or fertility journeys should be talked about a bit more. I wish we could all talk about it a bit more, because there are people out there who kind of withdraw or like aren't as comfortable talking about it. I mean, I'll talk about anything, but if I can help or talk with anybody, speak with anybody that might have questions, I'd love to. Also, because I did have a friend who had a really good friend who went through the process a bit before me, and she was my IVF guru. So I'd love to be that for someone. If you needed someone to ask, is this normal? Should I be feeling these symptoms? Blah, blah, blah. Like, let me be that for you. So please reach out if you need me. 10 out of 10 recommend Atlantic Fertility. But again, know that your body does know what to do. Sometimes it just needs a little help. I think that was the case. I think that was the case for us. And I'm thankful every day that we made the decision to move forward with, even though it was a scary, daunting experience. We now have little Eloise. So yeah, let's get back to the comedy. I'm just kidding. Next episode is just a little short one. It's a product review. Again, okay, so I need to mention this too. This is new to us. Any products that I mention in episodes, usually you can find them on Amazon and in our Amazon storefront. Eloise and I do earn a very small commission if you go to our Amazon storefront and or click one of our links. Doesn't cost anything extra to you, but I think we make like cents off your order or whatever. But it's going to go into her RESP and maybe Mama's self-care fund, because I need to get my nails done again. But yeah, so I have linked an Oura ring. I've linked some pregnancy and ovulation tests. I'm divvying up the storefront into like these different sections of what the podcast is going to be speaking about. So there's a prenatal section. And then there is a 0 to 3 months product. So we're going to talk about sleepers, sleep sacks, and swaddles, what we have been liking. She's about 6 weeks now. What we've been liking and what we haven't been liking and what we've learned. Also, for the next episode, if you're watching it on YouTube, ignore my mullet. I'm sorry, I don't get to shower every day. This is my life now. But that's going to be next episode. We're probably going to drop it again next Wednesday. Thank you for listening. This episode was definitely a little bit different than the first, and the lighting, and I'm going to have to learn how to edit and everything. But we are so thankful for you guys, and thanks for yapping with us.